McCaffrey, is he in a void, a complete avoid in 2025? Or do we take a couple stabs at him? We drafted him last night in an underdog draft. And I got to admit, I didn't like the feeling. We tried it out from the second round. That's what we do during the graveyard shifts, is we try out different strategies. I try these things on for size so that we know whether you should do them yourselves. And I'll be honest, man, there's too many good players in round 2. In retrospect, from last night's draft where I took this man in the second round, I regret not taking a different player. And I truly wish him well. Of course, McCaffrey's blessed the fantasy football landscape for years and years, and we owe him that. Standing ovation. Let's start with that.
Mashed potatoes.
Okay, no doubt about it. McCaffrey deserves, a hats off and a round of applause. Understand that. But at the end of the day, this is a business, and for most of you, you treat it as an amazing hobby, but some of you do treat it like a side business. You're playing underdog. Promo code Smitty, where they'll match your first deposit 50% up to $1,000. Use code Smitty or the link in the description. Link I'll drop in the live chat right now. We got to make business decisions. We got to make big boy decisions. Pull our pants up and not be a slave to nostalgia. And McCaffrey played 4 games last year. McCaffrey, some people forget, had a PCL injury on top of the bilateral Achilles tendonitis, which makes him such a strong candidate to tear an Achilles tendon, no matter what the Twitter doctors tell you. Okay? Trust me. Trust me, who's been here for 23 plus years professionally, playing fake doctor, but full-time fantasy. Okay? Don't trust a full-time doctor playing part-time fantasy. I've been here through thick and thin. I'm telling you, there are better options. There are safer options. There are options that give you at least the same ROI, return on your investment. But let's dig into more than just Christian McCaffrey. Today we have a bunch of news. Travis Hunter, Matthew Stafford, Travis Kelce's back according to the text message he sent directly to Pat McAfee. Today, we're breaking it all down. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. We're live, baby. File on in.
Studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Well, yeah, and Alan's correct. Alan's given your boy Smitty the proper credit here. He says Smitty pegs CMC in 2024. Complete avoid, and especially when that calf injury perked up, and everybody's like, it's just a calf. This is the Niners. The Niners, and Shanahan really specifically doesn't tell us anything. This guy is a liar when it comes to news and his players and how healthy they are and what they're really dealing with. Shanahan completely lied to the entire news landscape. And we all just sat there. And the NFL just sat there. To be frank, I don't know why there isn't more responsibility and some sort of accountability for the McCaffrey news and everything that comes out of San Francisco and a few other teams. Denver's one of them too. You've even heard straight from Sean Payton's mouth, I won't tell you anything about my running backs, when talking about Javonte even a couple years ago. The problem I have with that is some of you might be saying, hey, Smitty, I'm a keyboard warrior. And I'm going to say, why are they going to, forgive me for the broken, this looks like it hurts, doesn't it? Forgive me for the broken megaphone. I got to order a new one. Smitty, what makes you think they care what you think? Because we're a multi-billion-dollar industry now. This thing's bigger than just you and I in our small $100 fantasy football buddy league. This is more than the water cooler league at the work where Steve and Margaret don't even set their lineups every week. This is now about millions and millions of dollars bet on every single game, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars bet on individual plays. I would venture to say that every single play in the NFL has some sort of decent amount of wagering going on. And so we, as the fantasy football landscape, the viewers, the news aggregates, the news consumers, the news breakdown artists like myself, the talking heads, deserve to have the appropriate information. Because if we don't, guess what? People lose money. It's bigger than your, Smitty, no one cares about your fantasy football. They don't care about the football, Smitty. They're there to make money. You think they care about your fantasy team? They better, because we pay their paychecks. I'm so sick and tired of the whiny Williams inside comment sections going, no one cares about your fantasy. They should. Without us, they make half the money or less. We've grown the industry. We've grown the viewership of the NFL. We are the authority on what they do and what they say and how they act. Sorry, that's the way it is. And someone's got to take accountability for the news. The NFL has to be accountable for providing accurate information and holding owners and holding teams and holding coaches, maybe even draft picks at stake for providing misinformation or misguiding NFL news aggregates and people that produce the news and report the news. There should be punishments involved because of how much is now at stake at every single turn. It's quite ridiculous to me that no one's taking ownership of this topic. No one's trying to drive this train in a straight direction. As for Christian McCaffrey and his 2025 outlook, I don't believe he is worth the risk on really almost any level. I will stand by that. I think having him in a couple best ball leagues is probably appropriate, because then you get your fix, you get your beak wet, and you only have to drop a $3 or a $5 entry on Underdog. Promo code Smitty. Link has been pinned in the live chat as we speak. Because this way, if you were to play an Underdog draft, $3 to $5, and he's a baller, you got a shot at making some money because you invested in McCaffrey. In your buddy league, you don't have the luxury of, if he goes in and out of a game, your highest scoring player replaces him automatically. In your buddy league, your redraft league, your work league, you don't have the luxury of having him miss an entire 3 quarters and you get screwed. Not to mention in best ball, you're allowed to, obviously, because you don't set your lineup, it's set for you, you're allowed to delve into the world of scataboos and backing up McCaffrey with Mason and Garendo and McCaffrey, and grabbing Scataboo in case the Niners draft him too, which is very much a fear of mine. But even if not, you draft now, you get Scataboo, you got this breakout artist in Scataboo on top of McCaffrey, and just like Bucky emerged in midseason on, you'll have somebody, because you watch this channel, that will emerge midseason on, and you can benefit from the McCaffrey weeks 1 through 5 that he plays well, let's say. The reason I don't buy into McCaffrey is he has to play like his old self in order to get the production that even warrants the high draft capital that sits around 14, 15 overall currently for Christian McCaffrey on ADP rankings. He can't produce McCaffrey numbers without McCaffrey workload, especially as he gets older, especially as the offensive line starts to maybe become a little problematic in San Francisco. Trent Williams is returning, but to what degree? Will he stay healthy? Will he go in and out of the lineup? Who knows how this offense will move without Deebo Samuel, as they most likely trade or cut him almost no matter what. Our boy Raj from RSF 49ers said there's a 0% chance that Deebo Samuel's on the roster in 2025. Now, you might say Deebo's overweight, he's carrying extra LBs, he's kind of a hindrance to the offense anyway. Jennings is the man. Ayuk will be back. Ricky Pearsall, pretty Ricky's got it all under control, Smitty. Kittle's going to step up. These are all possibilities for sure. But Deebo is the biggest yak yardage monster in the National Football League. And I know he hadn't played that way for a while, consistently. But at the end of the year, he did get back on track a little bit. Shanahan was showcasing him to trade him, and I told everybody that. There's a reason Debo's returning punts, getting water, coaching on the sidelines, announcing at halftime. They had him all over the place, selling hot dogs in the middle of the third quarter. They had him at every position known to man in the organization, and they were trying to showcase to trade him. Shanahan's very blatant about that. And then they said, we're not in the business of trading good players in the beginning of the offseason, near the Super Bowl and a little bit after, and now all of a sudden, we're abiding by his trade request, and we're going to send Debo packing. Well, Debo is gone. Debo's gone no matter what, because on good authority, they're cutting him if they can't trade him. So regardless if he gets traded, cut, argue that till your heart's content about which side you like. I don't really care. I think he probably gets traded, but you never know. These teams are fickle. This is the NFL. A lot of logic is not always in place. Hence by many different things like Lamar Jackson being franchise tagged and not one single team going after him. Oh, but Smitty, no one wanted to, they were going to match the offer. I don't want to hear it. This NFL is a non-logical environment sometimes. It just is. So even I, who say I think I know what this is going to be and now that's going to be, no one really knows. This is the NFL filled with faulty logic individuals, human beings, corrupt human beings capable of error. Joe Scheinbach's over in New York. There's all kinds of, you got Ryan Poles over in Chicago. These are two of the worst GMs in football. These are human beings. They make mistakes. There's 32 of them. 31, and they absolutely don't always make the right call. That's a fact, plain and simple. So, I guess I'm here to say this: Debo Samuel gone. While it feels like he's a non-factor, it's a problem. Trent Williams, older, injured, problem. Brock Purdy failed last year, and we still need to see what he's gonna do. And the Niners are about to pay him, double Ayuk money and have money wrapped up in Ayuk, have money wrapped up in Purdy. They're going to put their franchise on the line for the next 5 years on Brock Purdy's shoulders. And given he didn't produce last year, I think it's a mistake. I think Brock Purdy, who's still under contract, you say, Brock, we might franchise tag you at the end of this next season, but we're going to make you play on a right size, do you one solid and give you a little bit of a raise, but you're going to play on a 1-year adjusted deal. And we're going to sign you next offseason. But the Niners aren't going to do that. I almost promise you, because the owner is already said, he's gone on record, we're going to shatter the quarterback market with Brock Purdy's contract. So what I think doesn't matter. What I think does not matter one single bit in this situation and many situations, but I'll still give you my opinion. And my opinion is that this team is going to be in flux. And it's a good solid squad. There's a lot of talent on the roster. They're capable of being a top 6 to 8 team in the conference. Not trying to predict downfall for them. But I don't think that the situation's better than it ever has been. I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle bus year in terms of finding its way. Maybe it's a struggle start to the year and a rebound effect. But I do believe McCaffrey won't be somebody they can lean on. And if they do, they'll break him. If they lean on him to become the McCaffrey of old, he will tear an Achilles tendon. If they don't lean on him, he can't produce high second round value because he won't get enough production. Either way, it's a disaster waiting to happen at cost of entry when you can go get yourself even a Josh Allen in a one quarterback league in the second round is a safer, much better play than drafting Christian McCaffrey when you can just flip the script and draft JD5 in round 3, Joe Burrow in 4, Dak Prescott in 12, who is one of the bigger steals in fantasy, by the way. No one's saying Dak Prescott. Here comes the Niner person that I'm really upset right now in the comments. Says, you think Dak Prescott's going to win a Super Bowl? Where are you at? Read the room. No one's talking about Super Bowls. I'm talking about Dak Prescott being an undervalued fantasy football quarterback in 2025 at 11 and 12 round territory. I'm talking about Smitty, who's very early quarterback, saying maybe if you want a punt quarterback in 2025, Dak is your man. Because 11 to 12 round territory is pretty ridiculous when you might get Ashton Genty. Even if you don't, you still have CeeDee mother freaking Lamb. Maybe you got Scatterboo and CeeDee Lamb. maybe the Cowboys take Ted McMillan, which would be great for CeeDee Lamb. Maybe not bad, maybe not great. I don't think it really hurts CeeDee Lamb all that much, but it's certainly not what you want. But it's great for Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott knows how to throw the football. Dak Prescott can be a top 6 quarterback, all while chewing gum and walking at the same time. And chewing gum means not winning playoff games. He cannot win playoff games and score fantasy points chewing gum and walking at the same time. Or maybe swallowing the gum and walking at the same time. However you want to reference that, not doing well in the playoffs, but still being fantasy football relevant. My point, circling back because I sidetracked like a mother, this situation, I'd rather have Breece Hall. I'd rather have Bucky Irving. I'd rather have Kyron Williams, who has a 3rd round ADP. Why? I don't know. How? I have no clue. All I can say is thank you. May I have another? May I draft again? Can I get Kyron and Josh Allen in round 2 and Kyron in round 3 instead of CMC in round 2? Yes. Can I please have Breece Hall in round 3 instead of Christian McCaffrey in round 2? Please. Don't like the quarterback early. Ignore what I'm saying. Go get Brock Bowers. What if Brock Bowers gets Matthew Stafford and he laser locks on him like Puka Nacua? Go get Brock Bowers instead of Christian McCaffrey. Brock Bowers crushes Christian McCaffrey's value and return on investment. You don't like early quarterback? Fine. JT? Don't like JT? Fine. Go after somebody you do like. There are plenty of options inside round 2. Ashton Genty's going 14 and 15 overall. Anybody taking Christian McCaffrey over Ashton Genty has a problem. A problem that I can't even solve. This piece of news out of the way. That's a 16-minute and 54-second segment. That's pretty good for me. Travis Hunter said on Thursday it's super important to him that the number 1 pick in April's NFL draft, and that it's super important to be the number 1 pick, and that he's ready, willing, and uniquely able to play both sides of the ball in his professional career. And then he had yet another piece of news here that I want to find. I put it somewhere around here. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Hunter, right here. Second paragraph. Hunter wants to play both positions. 100% snaps of cornerback and 100% snaps of wide receiver. Oh, but Smitty, I'm so glad that Travis Hunter made the right decision to play DB in the NFL and go to the combine as a DB, not perform but listed as a DB. It was such a good decision. I heard from content creator Caleb over here, who's been just running his mouth without knowing a single thing about football, and he said that he's going to play DB. And he's going to be more DB, barely wide receiver. He's barely going to play wide receiver. I'm not pretending I know if Travis Hunter's playing more wide receiver than cornerback. But what I do know, what I do have is a particular set of skills that make me a nightmare for your teammates, skills that I've acquired over a long period of time that tell me that Travis Hunter has just as high of a likelihood of being a wide receiver full-time in the NFL than he is being anything else. And the fact that people have already drawn a conclusion which they know nothing about and have no insider information for, people making buzz, so to speak, throwing mud at the wall, those people are making a grave mistake. I have no clue what's fully going to happen, but I'll tell you this right now. Travis Hunter is a better wide receiver than he is a defensive back. Travis Hunter is the most electric player in the draft outside of Ashton Genty, maybe tied with Ashton Genty. You know what? I'll make it so. They're tied. They're tied for the most electric playmaking ability type players coming out of the NFL draft. And if you're a coach, you're a GM, you're a decision maker, and you're going to grab Travis Hunter, you want the ball in his hands. You want the ball in his hands. And on top of that, there's yet another report that said that my first meeting was at wide receiver. His first meeting today was a meeting about being wide receiver and wide receiver alone. So I tell you right now, One of the best values in Underdog right now, code Smitty, link pinned in the live chat, link in the description, is Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter's going in the double-digit rounds. Tet McMillan, who I love, no knock on Tet McMillan's going in round 4. On Underdog redraft. In Dynasty, probably round 3. You know where Travis Hunter's going? Double-digit rounds, I just told you. In Dynasty, tough to say, but it's well past Tet McMillan. It's still multiple rounds away from Tet McMillan. Travis Hunter might be one of the most electric and explosive sleepers hiding in the middle rounds in fantasy. And in fact, I'm so sure about this, he's becoming a moon man right now.
The moon man, dropping loads in outer space.
Impromptu style, moon man extraordinaire, Travis Hunter, welcome to the Moon Man list. If I could just find your graphic somewhere. I've got, here it is. Travis Hunter, Moon Man extraordinaire. And I can't wait till they update these rookie pictures. Like Genty's is awful. This one's okay. Some of these graphics are they're just not very, very good. So hopefully they get these new photos in. Like when they first brought in the updated MHJ photo, I loved it. MHJ's photo was phenomenal. It was so bad earlier. It was such a bad picture. You could barely see it. It was very bad color, very bad contrast. And then all of a sudden they put that one up of MHJ. Where's MHJ's? MHJ's is one of the best photos in the National Football League. I'm not putting him on the Moon Man list, but I want to show you the photo. This is one amazing photo. Like this was when they updated his image on NFL.com, it was like, holy crap. Got to get that up on the board right away versus the other one was really bad. So I can't wait till these new images come through. But Travis Hunter, I love Travis Hunter. He's capable of winning you a league. Anybody that's dropped the ball and not drafted him in early Underdog drafts, you still have time because people don't react until there's something to react to. They follow the leader. They follow the pack. They follow the sheep to slaughter, the lamb to slaughter, whatever you want to say. So now is your chance to go get him in double-digit rounds on Underdog, promo code Smitty. Go do it live. I've been telling everybody for months that they need to watch and check themselves. Watch themselves, check themselves, and maybe stop watching channels and shows that feed you garbage information like Travis Hunter is not going to play wide receiver. Not saying that the team drafts him doesn't screw him. Okay, out of his wish of playing both sides. Not saying I know that information, but I'm telling you right now, his intentions are clear. Super important to him that he's willing to play on both sides of the ball. He's not trying to do one thing. Number 2 point today, his first meeting was at wide receiver. And then the second piece was that he wants to play 100% both sides of the ball. I'm not saying he's going to get that wish. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying this is what he wants. He wants to play 100% of the snaps on offense and defense. And you can say he can't do it. I'm not saying that he can or can't either. I think he can do it more than people are suggesting he can't. I think there's a higher percentage chance that, guess what? People are lazy in this world. Do you think you walk into your local Starbucks and every single person's working at 100% capacity? When you walk into your T-Mobile store to get a new phone, does Steve over in the corner look like he's working full time? Could he be working both sides of the fence? Could he be handing out the phones, checking people out, and also helping customers? The answer is yes. In life, people are lazy. People are lazy. They could be doing more. They could be doing a lot more. And just because other people don't want to admit players that could have played both sides of the ball, that they didn't do it so no one else could do it, it's admitting that they should have tried. And Travis Hunter did it in college when people doubted him, and he did it effectively. What makes anyone think he's not trying the same thing at the pro level? Or at least, what makes anybody think he's decided, or anybody's decided, what, because some content creator said so? That he's decided that he's not playing wide receiver more than DB? He's a steal right now. He's a moon man extraordinaire.
The moon man, dropping loads in outer space.
Moon man extraordinaire. Abdul Carter is not going to need surgery. It's not advisable to have surgery, and he's even going to participate in some drills and such. We'll see how that goes, but this might not drop his value at all. For those that don't know much about the defensive side of the ball, this guy's projected to be a potential number 1 overall pick. And the news yesterday that he had a stress fracture in his foot that may require surgery has that opportunity in jeopardy. Maybe he falls to 3, 4, 5. I know a lot of people, or was it Falcons fans, were going nuts, and Niner fans. The Falcons are like, if he slips to us, that's a blessing. He's not falling more than 2 or 3 picks, even if he had surgery. He's not getting past like 6. There's no way. So he's not falling to the Falcons at 15. Everybody wants him. They say, we finally get our guy that we've been wanting, a position we've been trying to fill for a while now. That's not going to happen. But even more than that, I don't think that he drops at all. I think, maybe the Tennessee Titans were teeter-tottering between Hunter, Cam Ward, and Abdul Carter. We know they are. But maybe they now say, okay, we were teeter-tottering. Now we're just going to go with Travis Hunter or Cam Ward. That's the kind of impact that this news has. Not anything like he falls past, much past like 4 or 5 or 6. And whoever gets him getting a steal. But there is a little bit of concern here. There's always injury risk with players that enter in with injury risk, and then you sort of patterning and trending. The most predictability about injury is what has happened lately. What injury history does somebody have? And so it is a problem to a degree. So we'll see what happens. Think of like Blake Griffin in the NBA, for example. But this is something that I don't think affects too much. But what it does affect is this top 3 overall. So the Giants, who may or may not have had a better shot at getting a quarterback like Ward or Sanders, might have a little bit less of an opportunity if now Abdul Carter maybe isn't selected by one of these 2 teams, the Browns or the Titans, where he was very likely to go to one of them without any sort of injury concern at all. So it does put the Giants in a predicament where maybe they're now a little more aggressive in getting Stafford, maybe they're more aggressive in getting Justin Fields, maybe they're more aggressive in doing something alternative to waiting around and seeing who's available at number 3 overall. Because guess what? Justin Fields will be gone at that point. We're talking about having to be reactive, having to make a decision before you know what these draft picks are going to be and where these players land. So it makes free agency more exciting. It makes the Giants more unpredictable going forward. And maybe they get desperate and do go after a big number 3 for Stafford deal. And then the Rams take the chance at 3 that they get Ward or Shador. And if not, they roll with Jimmy Garoppolo. Puka Nacua becomes a near, I don't want to say bust, but a near absolute void in the first and top of round 2. I've been saying this for a little bit now. Stafford is a vulnerable piece of this organization for the future especially. And I'm not saying to avoid Puka Nacua in all leagues or anything like that. But people are over, they're double dipping, triple dipping, quadruple dipping on Puka Nacua shares in multiple drafts in a row, 50% ownership, drafting him every single time. They're drafting him at 4, they're drafting him at 3, they're drafting him as the number 1 wide receiver, and there's apparent risk. There's tons of risk sitting right in front of your face, and that is if Stafford's gone, Puka goes down. And now who replaces Stafford means a lot in terms of how much rebound he can have and where he falls to. Top of round 2, probably still worth it if it's Cam Ward, Shador, or Justin Fields, okay? So if Puka does fall to 10, 11, 12, and I can take him at, or 14 or 13, I can take him there, I might take him there. But there's a lot of risk involved in Puka Nacua right now. Now, the reason you don't run for the hills and call him a total bust is because Stafford could still return. So we'll find out. And then there's also news that the Raiders and Stafford have really been talking, and there's some potential framework that has been kicked around loosely. So that's needs to be known. Travis Kelce said he's coming back for sure. Texted Pat McAfee, who texted him directly and said, "Are you coming back?" And he said that he is coming back for sure, quote unquote, for the 2025 season. That he had a bad taste left in his mouth, which is the exact phrase I've been using for weeks. He's coming back no matter what. I didn't care if he retired. I said he was coming back because he will get that itch in September and August. No matter what, he was coming back. Stafford, according to an NFL spokesman, there's no issue with Matthew Stafford meeting with Tom Brady and the Raiders, as the club gave permission to do so. And again, the Raiders and Stafford reportedly have kicked around some preliminary frameworks that make it appear that there's definitely enough of an agreement between Stafford and the Raiders to kickstart the trade negotiation. So if anybody thought Matthew Stafford was not leaving or could not leave or just it was all bluff, it's very much a reality that this is a possibility. At least a 40% chance, maybe 35% chance he's a Raider, maybe a 30% chance that he's a Ram. I would give him maybe equal share, 30% Ram, 30% Raider, and then the other percentage to another potential suitor. But it does feel like Stafford's best choice for him is to play under the command of Tom Brady with Brock Bowers, who goes to the mother freaking moon. No, not the moon.
To the moon.
Brock Bowers goes to, no, not Mars. Not Saturn.
To Jupiter.
To Jupiter. If he's got Matthew laser locking Stafford, throwing him the ball, and Puka Nacua sees a
stock on
decline. There's just no way Puka can survive. I know some of you that are strongly invested in Puka across all your dynasty leagues are going to fight me on this. Why would you not? You're grabbing for straws. You're drowning here. And you're just saying, Smitty, no, it's going to be okay. Anybody in the chat or anywhere else that's really loud about Puka will be fine. Puka will be the same value. No one's saying he won't be a good receiver, but he's not worth the number 1 or number 2 overall wide receiver ranking and draft capital. And if anybody's loud saying that, understand the perspective they're coming from. They own him like crazy, and they have to make this fight. So Brock Bowers to freaking Saturn if this occurs. Maybe Andromeda, where Neighbors is going to go. T. Higgins. Oh, Neighbors. Neighbors Andromeda? Why would Neighbors go to Andromeda? I don't understand, Smitty. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Far away, a planet called Neighboron had an extinction-level event which caused utter collapse. One pod escaped containing a young boy, the last of his kind, drifting off course after an asteroid shower encounter. The pod found its way into Earth's orbit and crash-landed on a small farm. On this farm, the young boy lived a normal and hidden life, until his powers became evident and his mission and purpose became clear. His name was to be Neighbors after his home planet. He would comb the earth looking to save all that needed his help. At first, Neighbors was keeping up with all who needed his help, but he couldn't do it alone. He needed a sidekick to truly become invincible and turn into a supernova.
And with the 3rd overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select.
Get lammed.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Malik Neighbors is on a mission in 2025 and might be the first planet or galaxy, Andromeda galaxy man. So
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large.
Look at these monsters.
Every planet in the solar system could fit inside it. There are no big...
Look at these monsters. Okay, T. Higgins, according to Chad Graff, he believes the Patriots' blueprint for the offseason does not include pursuing T. Higgins. This feels like somebody just wants to make some news or something. I don't think The Athletic, no offense, Chad, I don't know who you are, and I appreciate you, and I'm just my opinion. But I think Chad's maybe, reaching here. For there's nothing here. We don't know what the blueprint is for the Patriots, but more so than anything, T. Higgins is not available for trade right now. So of course he's not in their plans. He's not in anybody's plans until things go astray. T. Higgins wants to be in mother freaking Cincy. T. Higgins is currently in mother freaking Cincy, and he's franchise tagged, and it has to be a situation where the Cincinnati Bengals want to trade him. But let me tell you something and enlighten you. For those that think this can't happen, that he can't be retained, according to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, reports are the NFL and NFLPA agreed to a salary cap figure of $279.2 million in 2025. The cap keeps going up. I tell you guys this every single year, that every 2 years it goes up by 15 to 20%, 10 to 20% at least. And it is something that makes it a lot more feasible to get deals done like we're talking. And even when we make fun of the Bengals and ownership about not bringing back Jamar Chase last offseason, at the end of the day, the grand scheme of things, big picture, when you know the cap is going up, that's part of some of your strategy. That you're going to have more money anyway. Your cap goes up. You're going to be able to figure it out. And they're playing their gambles on whether a player has the type of season Jamar Chase had. He had the best season he could have had, so he's going to get paid. But at the end of the day, he gets $40 million, and he will. If anybody thinks he's getting under $40 million, I have a bridge to sell you. This man is getting $40 million per year. End of story. I don't even want to hear anybody, and I'll be here, the first one to be here after he gets his $40 million contract. You know what button I'm going to press immediately? We told you. We told you.
Let him cook.
He's getting $40 million a year. You know who's getting $34 million a year minimum? This man, T. Higgins. And again, we will be the ones that told you. Smitty, T. Higgins doesn't deserve $34 million. The market is changing right before your eyes. Okay? $25 million per year annually was what Ridley got at the beginning of free agency. Ridley and Ayuk, they're no different. Guess what Ayuk got? $30 million, $5 million difference per year annually. So if anybody thinks T. Higgins is getting Ayuk money's yesterday's money. Today's price is not yesterday's price. He's getting, we'll call it $33 to $34 million. Might even get 35, but $33 to $34 million for T. Higgins, bare minimum. And if anybody thinks this team isn't going to do it, they're not going to bring them both back. They're at least bringing him back on the franchise tag, which he might be upset about. He might hold out. He might act like he's not going to come back and play on it. He'll maybe, wait a while. They might do a 1-year adjusted deal, whatever the case may be. He's coming back, and they're signing him. Not to mention the franchise tag on T. Higgins is 120% last year's salary because they're doing this 2 times in a row. He was franchise tagged last year. So it's 120% the amount this year, so it's more expensive. So the tag doesn't even really make sense for the team. So anybody thinking that they're going to tag him and they're just going to trade him, they might even work a deal out sooner than we think. So hang tight on T. Higgins. He's certainly staying. Again, that cap going up is huge. Who cares about Deshaun Watson? What's this? Nothing nefarious about him tearing his or his Achilles tendon again. So for those that don't know, he tore his Achilles, right? He was healing, and he just re-tore it again. So he's not even going to play in 2025. He's done. He'll never play another snap probably as a starter for the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns GM is saying there's nothing nefarious about how he tore it again, but there was reports that he was not wearing his protective, boot and brace, and when he tore it, he was at the lake. I don't know why they're not pursuing this. This was said to be something to where the team could get out on his contract because he wasn't doing the proper protocols with the Achilles when he was out tearing it at the lake, reportedly. I don't know. This is what people are saying. It's weird to me that they're just moving on from that, but they are. So that is what it is. Ian Rappaport tweets, to this Nick Underhill report that said, don't really get into reporting all of the meetings, but here's one notable one. The Saints met with Cam Ward. I mean, the only news that really makes sense out of this is that the Saints are aggressive in trade, give up, multiple first rounders maybe to trade from 9 to the number 1 or number 2. It would probably be the number 1. I don't think the Browns trade out of the 2 as much as the Titans trade out of 1. They both could trade out, but anyway, it would have to be a trade up to number 1, which could happen. And the posturing of this Derek Carr garbage is it's disappointing, I'm sure, if you're a Saints fan to hear, this team get behind Derek Carr, which I have a report here somewhere about Derek Carr. It's around here somewhere, I believe. Anyway, the report is, I might find it in a second. The report is that the Saints are very much okay with starting Derek Carr all year long, and they're behind him. They think they can win with him. That could be a posturing maneuver to try and get less competition for trading up to one, but it does sound like the Saints, and the Saints are a disappointing franchise right now. It's not a place you want anybody to go from a fantasy perspective. This breaking news, Myles Garrett does not want to negotiate a contract extension with the Browns, as his agent has slammed the door shut on discussions. This is big news. Remember when I told you a few weeks ago, whether he wants to get traded or not, doesn't matter initially. This team is going to say, we want to keep you. This is going to be the struggle between the two sides. We're not going to let you go. We're not going to let you go until he makes it completely uncomfortable, causes as much locker room drama as he can, starts dragging things out, creates the animosity, creates the fracture in the relationship. And then and only then can you have a trade. In order to have a trade, you must have an offer a team can't refuse. When we're talking about a big player, when you trade a big player that the organization shouldn't really trade, you need two components. You need a fractured relationship between team and player, which is what he's trying to do right here, and he's doing a very good job. And you need an offer that you can't refuse. The team will not trade Myles Garrett unless the offer is something that feels to that degree. Now, this is the Browns, and they might be thinking an offer's too good to be true and accept a bad offer. That's one component here. But you do need two. And right now, we probably have the formula for a 50-50 situation. So Myles Garrett could certainly go somewhere. He's trying to create a fractured relationship, enough to create drama to get this done before the NFL draft. Because I'll tell you this right now, trading a player or trading picks or trading anything after the NFL draft is a lot harder than before the NFL draft. Why? Because these teams typically want to use the now draft capital and execute upon that draft pick in this year's draft. You don't want to give up on Myles Garrett for future draft capital or whatever. You want to be able to take action right now, start building right now. So it's smart for his agent and him to create as much animosity and divide as they can now so they can have it fester and build up, and there's enough pressure to have a team come with an offer that's at least near something you can't refuse, and they're pressured to jump and take it. If they're not stressed to the point of having to leave this fractured relationship, they might turn down something on draft day that they wouldn't if the relationship isn't taxed. So it's a smart move if he wants to get out of there. And this is definitely going toward a direction that, as we talked about, would need to take place before a trade could happen. Everyone's saying, oh, he'll be traded. He's traded. Where's he going to go? Now it looks like it's a possibility, but that fractured relationship needs to continue to build and fester, I think, for a trade to go down here. Because I still think the Browns are going to stand on principle right now, but if it gets bad, they're going to say our team is not better off holding this toxic, situation in the locker room, et cetera, et cetera. This is that Abdul Carter. He does not need surgery, so he's still highly ranked at this point. This is the Pat McAfee thing. Deebo Samuel, there's a report that the Denver Broncos are not going to be a team that's interested in trading for Deebo Samuel. Remember that this is one of the 3 landing spots that I predict him to go to. Let me see if I can pull this up right here. One of the 4 landing spots that I predict him to go to, or have been predicting: Ravens, Bills, Texans, and Broncos, straight across the board. Ironically, one team for each of these divisions in the AFC. But it sounds like the Broncos might be out, and there's still 3 teams that I predict are going to be the most likely landing spots. And it's across, the pond, so it makes the most sense in terms of those 3 teams. But it looks like the Broncos are out, but this is just a report. It could be fodder. This right here, John Gruden was inducted back into, or accepted back into, the Ring of Honor in Bucs land. This was a disgrace from the beginning. Why he was taken and removed out politically was a debacle and disgrace to me. John Gruden has given the game so much. He's such a funny guy. He's such a character. He just should have never been removed. This is all politics at this point. But John Gruden back in the Ring of Honor. Good for him. Standing ovation for John Gruden. I like John Gruden. Bring John back. Bring John back. Yeah, buddy. Get John back in a coaching position. Let's go, John. BBQ with the $5 hauler. Appreciate you. Do MHJ or Odunze have a chance for a year 2 JSN style breakout? I think MHJ does and Odunze does. I'd probably say at the end of the day, MHJ has a little bit better shot than Odunze, but I still think there's room for both of them to be top 20 wide receivers. Do I think MHJ will eventually become a top 6, top 5, top 7 wide receiver in the National Football League? I do. I think there's still a lot of upside for that. I think he's still one of the most talented wide receivers already in the NFL, and he's already a top 1 to 2, maybe top 3 hardest working wide receiver in the National Football League. I think people are going to write him off too quickly, and that's good for us because we get to scoop him up later and later, especially in Dynasty. That's another report on the same thing. This is Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty. Go hit that Underdog link that's pinned in the live chat. It's in the description of the video. Here's some 40 times that I did some hires on. Again, Underdog, promo code Smitty, links in the description and live chat. 50% match on your first deposit all the way up to $1,000, getting bonus credit. Here's the 40 times that I like the faster, slower. Give me the faster Hampton 4.46. Give me the faster 4.4 Trevion Henderson. Give me the faster 4.39 Dylan Sampson. Probably going to get like a 4.37. Give me the Cam Scattaboo 4.55 faster. Drop him, do it live. BBQ dropping 50 gifted memberships. Let me see if my damn thing's not alerting me. I'm sorry, BBQ, but everybody sees them in the live chat. My alerts should be going here next time. I have to always reset them when they're not working. Everybody thank BBQ for dropping mother freaking 50 gifted memberships in the live chat. BBQ is the man. We're going to hit that $50 hauler on his behalf.
$50. Give me $50 hauler. Get by the brother, Smitty. Give me $50.
Hey, BBQ, that gets you another bold prediction. So any bold prediction you want to put on the $50 board, let me know, and I'll put it on the board. Appreciate you dropping those. Everybody thank BBQ for giving you a gifted membership. Also, get over and smash some of these fasters, hires on Underdog for the Combine. Do it live. NFL draft orders right in front of your screen. Phone lines are open. 200 of you total in the room right now. Please hit that thumb up button on the way in the door on the YouTube channel if you're watching on X. Appreciate you, but get on over to the YouTube channel where it's more interactive and hit that subscribe button because we aren't always streaming to X. I do it once in a while, and I want you to know where to find me on the daily because this show is Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, additionally live whenever news breaks, and additionally live most midnights, sometimes 3 shows a day, live midnights on this channel doing graveyard shows. There are those gifted memberships rolling in. Damn, Grim getting one. Appreciate BBQ. Phone lines are open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. A lot of news. 50 minutes of news. That's pretty good. Pretty good amount of news for you guys. Christian McCaffrey, the lead. Travis Hunter, kind of the secondary lead of the show today. Go watch the beginning if you missed it. Travis Hunter is the biggest steal. Became a moon man today.
The Moon Man. Dropping loads in outer space.
Moon man extraordinaire. How he's doubted is beyond me. What he did in college, this kind of reminds me a little bit of the JD5 prediction that I had. It sounded so bold to everybody at the time, and here I am scratching my head and saying, how do other people not see JD5 the way I do? How is it not evident and clear and easy to see coming? And the same thing to me with Travis Hunter. Everyone's just running away from the fear that he doesn't play wide receiver enough. This guy's a talented playmaker that wants the ball in his hands consistently. It's wild to me. We got Gump on the line right now. Gump, you're live on the phone line. Josh, if you could mute, Josh, mute yourself if you could. Go ahead, Gump.
Hello?
Gump, go ahead. You're live. TikTok.
Hey, I got a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
One, I'd like to do a league, a 10-man league with you.
Okay. No offense, Gump. No offense. I don't have time for that right now. What's your question? Hit me with it. I can't do leagues with you.
No, I mean at the beginning of the season. But anyway.
I know.
Money league. But anyway, what I'd like to see is like like the impossible that could happen, that there's a chance it will happen.
Spit it out, Gump.
Like,
Spit it, mother. Gump, you've been on the line 2.5 minutes. Ask me the question, Gump. Go.
Okay. Well, I think that the Lions are going to start playing Hendon Hooker a lot more, so that way they can trade him to Pete Carroll for Max Crosby.
Gump, you hit your head again. Gump, you hit your head again. There's no. What do you mean play Hendon Hooker more? You think they're taking Jared Goff off the field? What are you hauling today in the tractor trailer? Because one of the canisters might have broken open and you're sniffing some sort of paint. What are we talking about? You don't bench your quarterback and throw Hendon Hooker out there so you can initiate some trade interest. What if he doesn't play well?
Hendon Hooker's any good.
It's not that I don't think Hendon Hooker's any good. It's that you don't take your starting quarterback who's been effective, that brought you pretty far a couple years in a row. You don't take him off the field so you can generate some possible trade bait opportunity. Come on, Gump.
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's not. What do you mean that's what you're saying?
Why not do it? I know it's kind of crazy, but I think it'd be cool.
Gump. All right, Gump, mute yourself. Gump, you know I love you. You know I love you, pal. I'm not mad at you. I'm just passionate.
And CMC is going to have a big year right along with Debo this year. I'm telling you, better hold phones on that.
Well, coming from a guy that thinks that the Lions should be starting Hendon Hooker or playing Hendon Hooker a lot to get trade interest, I don't know I don't know that. Oh, just at the beginning. So just in like weeks 1 or 2, just throw Hendon Hooker out there, see what happens.
Just bring that chocolate cookie right in front of Pete's nose. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't know what you're saying. Gump, mute yourself, okay? I'll come back to you. Don't go anywhere. We need you on the phone, Gump. And I do love you and appreciate you. And I'm just hard on some of your stances. I'm not hard on you as a person. I love you. Hold on 1 second. Let me go over to Josh Baker from Ohio. Mute yourself, Gump. Everybody else mute on the phone line. I got 5 or 6 of you on the phone line. Josh, go ahead.
Yep, missed your show live about Joe Milton, you know. I just wanted to talk about him a little bit.
Love Joe Milton.
Me too. You know, I was looking into him. He's 6'5". He's the perfect height. He's Josh Allen's size, running, Jaden Daniels' speed. And then that one pass play you showed where he rolled out to the left and threw it on a line like 30 yards downfield.
Unbelievable.
The second hardest pass ever recorded in the NFL.
Yep.
So he plays a full season. He probably has the strongest arm, in the league. And then I know it's just one game, but Pro Football Focus had him as the number 1 graded passer this season, highest PFF rating.
So, okay. Here's the play where Joe Milton's on the far left, number 19, far left of the screen. He throws this dime pass straight down the line, and the defender doesn't even think it's a possibility, so he slows up. The receiver doesn't really know it's coming, and he throws it on a line, straight down the line. This guy can throw the ball 70 yards down the field. He could throw it 65. I love the doubt behind Milton, and the reason people are scared of him, and I will say that that's really what it is, they're scared of him. You know why they're scared of him? Because they don't want to be wrong and look like a fool. It's hard to admit that you missed something. And when you say something like Joe Milton's got untapped potential, and you didn't even know this man existed, or you laughed him off and shrugged him off, the last thing in the world you can do as a man or a human being or whatever is say, yeah, God, I just missed on that one, huh? People are weird, fickle individuals, and they double down. They're double down Donnies, and they just pretend they know everything. Joe Milton's not a party trick. He's not just a backflip son of a bee. This guy is a solid quarterback that has a cannon. And it's not AR5. I want people to understand this is a player that's better than AR5 in my opinion. And I know I was really hyped on AR5, and things change. You can admit when you overstate something, and I admit everybody does. I mean, everybody loved AR5. It's not like I'm the only person in the world that missed on some of that. But Milton, I loved going into the draft, and I wanted Milton to get drafted by the Raiders at, I think it was pick 13. I was like, they need to take him. And then when he was still on the board, I was scratching my head the entire draft. How is a team not drafting Joe Milton? Even if it was the Bengals to back up and just have a plan in place if the often injured Joe Burrow goes down, or if you're the Miami Dolphins, to not have your potential succession plan in place in case Joe Milton's the real deal. My jaw was dropping every time he just kept sitting there on the board. But Joe Milton, I hope a team goes after him as a starting quarterback. He has got all the tools if cultivated properly, but like Justin Fields, he's got to be cultivated properly. People are so weird about the Justin Fields conversation. They don't hear what I'm saying. You need to have the right coaching staff and situation and system, patience, and ability to grow this man's skill set, because he is a little raw. But when you see a talent like Josh Allen, and this is a guy that very much has the same intangibles that Josh Allen had, and don't even think for a second you could say to me, and I'm not talking to you specifically, Josh, I'm talking to anybody out there, say to me, how did this man just compare him to Josh Allen? You can't say that to me, because I'm the one who said Josh Allen would come a knocking at the tune of not a top 5 quarterback, a top 1 to 5 on NBC and CBS Sports Radio, dropping that prediction before he ever took a snap in the National Football League. So yeah, coming out of his rookie year when people dogged all over it and said, yeah, he's a real good quarterback, Smitty, looks like trash. Guess what? He got better. Guess what? His arm talent was there. Guess what? He got molded and sculpted by Brian Dable, who is a quarterback whisperer over in the Giants situation, waiting for maybe Fields, maybe a quarterback, if it's Ward or Sanders or Fields or Darnold. I think the quarterback whisperer known as Dable can do similar things with what he did with Josh Allen, with whatever quarterback he gets. But Joe Milton, I hope Joe Milton goes to New York.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, he's faster than Josh Allen. He's got more, on paper running potential. And even his college, like his junior year, 10 touchdowns,
take it a little easy.
His might have been sophomore year, and then his last year.
Let's pump the brakes on being better than Josh.
5 interceptions.
Yeah, I like him.
I mean, hopefully
he goes somewhere.
But that was it. Just wanted to talk a little more about Joe Milton.
All right.
The live show.
All right, call back if you got another one. Appreciate it later.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me go over to Travis, then the Bruce, then back over to Gump. Go ahead, Travis.
Yeah, so I see it in the chat tonight, and I see it all the time. And I'm not singling out any one person. I see it from a ton of people. But the people saying that Travis Hunter can't do it because other players haven't done it is just a really, really flawed argument.
It's not just flawed. It's lazy. It's a lazy take.
Right. It's the easy thing to say, I guess, because no one's ever done it type of thing. But
it's a lazy take that requires some exercise.
Take a lap.
Requires some exercise. Take a lap. But I've said it for weeks and weeks and weeks now, not over a month or months. I don't know that it's like, just because somebody doesn't. Like, I walk into a restaurant, for example, and I'm not saying I'm built to work in the regular workplace anymore. I'm not. I'd crumble. I can't. I couldn't go back. I couldn't go back to that. I did it when I was younger. I couldn't. Look, I live this. I love this. I'm passionate about it. I'm blessed. I thank you guys. Without you guys, I couldn't do what I do. But there was a time when younger Smitty, I'd walk into a place, and even when I was doing what I was doing, I still would walk into a place and just the way my mind works, and I'd say, I could run this entire place by myself, and they could pay me double. As a kid, I would always think of this. And the fact is, nobody does that in life. The fact that someone thinks because somebody hasn't tried to play 100% both ways, and I'm not saying that a team will invest in him and then want him to, they might stand in his way. But for anybody to think that somebody can't do it just because other people were too lazy to try is wild to me. Travis Hunter had that same thought process in college, and everybody told him not to do it. Everybody said he couldn't do it, and he did it. What on earth makes anybody say and have the tenacity in a negative way? Because people are just tenacious with it. But have the goal to sit there and say that this man can't do it when he just proved to everybody who said he couldn't do it, and he did it at the college level, that he can't do it at the pro level. And his body is attuned to doing it. It's kind of like my example of you can't take a wide receiver, like let's say Luke McCaffrey. You take McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's brother, who's a receiver for the Washington Commanders. You take him and you just throw him in full-time running back. He will get hurt. Why? His body's not fine-tuned to be a running back. This is why Antonio Gibson never lasted. He was never a full-time running back. And ironically, the Washington Commanders who drafted him had him look really good his rookie year. We all bought into it. I knew better. I even said it a lot. I'm like, this is a little bit crazy because he doesn't have the pedigree for it. You have no resume. And the problem with that is it never, ever translates. You're just like your hands. You can't work and do rough, tough work with your hands if you've never done it. You'll get calluses and everything. But then you go to somebody that does hard manual labor, their hands are like rocks. Like your body prepares for the work that it does. Your body gets used to the work that it does. Travis Hunter has been doing this at the college level. Of course, you throw a regular NFL player that's really talented into both sides of the ball, they'll get hurt. You throw Travis Hunter in there, he's ready and primed for it. His body is adjusted for it. He's evolved for it. The evolution of the man's body, muscles, muscle structure, ability to stay healthy has evolved differently than the other players that you say, well, he can't do it. Well, he can't do it. No one's coming out of college in today's day with what he's done. So why are you judging him against every other player in the National Football League? It's a lazy take. You're being lazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same idea as, people saying guys can, oh, they didn't have a good enough schedule, or, oh, compared to this guy, he can't do this. It's like, just watch the actual player. Forget about comparing him to other people or looking at him against this or that. Watch what he does and his skill set.
He's so talented. Silva, take Trey Benson. Bro, I'm telling you right now, I know he's a good DB. I'm not saying he's not, but he has the potential to be a top 10 wide receiver in the National Football League. So if a team does, and I'm not saying a team won't, like I've made this a point abundantly clear. I don't know what the team that drafts him is going to do. They could screw him out of his wishes. I have no control over that. But what I do have control over is that we're not all knee-jerk reacting to the bad reporting bobbies out there that are suggesting that he needs to play DB. He's going to play 70% DB. No one knows. We know his wishes are that he wants to play 50%, 100% on both sides of the ball. Now, will he play 100% on both sides of the ball? I don't know. He could. I don't know that he will. But if I'm an NFL organization or a GM or a decision maker, you know what he's playing for me? 100% wide receiver. And whatever he wants to play on the defensive side, I will allow him to take it play by, scheme by scheme, whatever. And maybe you start off, saying, hey, why don't you do it, in these situations? Why don't we put you in these situations that should likely statistically give you about 30%, playing time on the defensive side. Look, I mean, I don't know how I would approach it, but what I do know is he would play 100% wide receiver. This is a playmaker. This is a guy that if you type in Shedeur Sanders highlights on YouTube and watch him for 5 minutes, you'll see nothing but Travis Hunter grabbing jump balls, contested footballs that are not even thrown all that accurate, that he makes Shedeur look like a monster. This guy is a playmaking monster. And if you're an NFL GM like Joe Shine or something, and you drafted this kid, only stupidity can take this kid off the field on the offensive side of the ball. I'm saying it right now. If a coach or a GM drafts him and does not play him 100% wide receiver, they're moronic. All right, let me go to Brucey real quick, and I'll come back to Gump and then back to Travis. Brucey, you're live.
Hey, Smitty. Our old boy, Javonte Williams. I heard the Broncos are thinking of bringing someone else in. So what does that do for Javonte?
Unfortunately, I don't know that Javonte has earned This is, as I always say, this is a copycat league. It's also a what have they done lately? What does this team think of the player? What another team thinks of a player, unfortunately, in this very, very fickle NFL evaluation and NFL GMing community matters, which is odd to me. You throw me into a GM role, and I know I could burn a franchise to the ground in 2 years as easily as I could turn it into a Super Bowl contender. I always admit that because I'm bold. I'm extreme. You know, injury could take out one of my big, huge moves. But the thing that makes me scratch my head over and over is how much this game is like the freaking movie NFL Draft or Draft Day. I remember when I first saw Draft Day, Ziggy, Volume 10. Ziggy, what year did Draft Day come out? I think it was
the film Draft Day was released on April 11th, 2014.
2014. I remember when I first saw Draft Day, and I love that movie, by the way. I put it on right this time of year. I watch at least like 30 times between about this time frame in the NFL Draft. It's a great movie. But when I first saw it, I thought to myself, this is kind of unrealistic because I was basing it off what I would do and how I think. But it's so accurate. These GMs, you know, they'll call each other and be like, "Hey, well, you know, why are you taking so and so? Is there something wrong with them?" And they listen to each other. They tell each other stuff. They actually, this is not as crazy as you think. It's weird. And so my point is that the Javonte Williams value, or the lack of value, very much is going to influence in Denver. Going to influence every other NFL team. They're not going to say, "Hey, 2 years ago when we looked at this kid's tackle breaking ability, best tackle breaker to come out of college for some time, why did he fail in Denver?" This is likely a phone call. "Hey, Sean Payton, what's wrong with Javonte?" "Oh, he just didn't." You would think, why would Sean Payton tell me anything true? But the GMs will be like, "What's wrong with him?" "Oh, he just didn't have the ability to get back to where he was, and we just we like using multiple backs." "Oh, there must be something wrong with him." "Okay, thanks. We're not going to go after him. See you later." That's the way the NFL is. I don't know that a team is going to have the ability to see through this complex situation and say, Javonte never got a shot. He's still a good tackle-breaking monster. Barkley got over his ACL tear. This guy got over his ACL tear. Javonte got over his ACL tear. Unfortunately, he was never given proper opportunity to get in rhythms and produce. And frankly, that Denver attack was always kind of looking the same anyway, no matter who was in there, whether it struggled or did well. I think Javonte will probably never get a shot as a starting running back. I hope that he goes somewhere where maybe opportunity in some odd way develops and a door opens and he gets to rise above. I hope he does, but I would not hold my breath.
Okay. And I got one more, because you were talking about J.J. McCarthy earlier. What do you think he does? Do you think he can put up the same numbers Sam Darnold did if he is the starter?
Put your earmuffs on, Sick Nasty. I don't know that JJM. I don't know that JJM is going to be as good as Darnold was, but I do need to give the Minnesota Vikings offense and coaching staff enough credit to say that whatever JJM is, he's going to look better than he is even in this offense. This offense and this coaching staff and this system and JJ and Addison, how can he not do well? How can he not do very well? Do I think he'll be as good as Darnold statistically? I don't think in his what will be his rookie year, in my opinion. I don't think so, but I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I still think he can look good. Do I think he's going to lead this team? Honestly, I still think there's a good chance Darnold's back. Darnold's not necessarily gone.
Right.
And keep in mind, too, Darnold's about money, but part of me wonders how much loyalty he's going to have to the team in terms of a hometown discount and just saying that, this is the only team that believed in me. And if you're Darnold, think about it, man. I know you have confidence in yourself as a player, I'm sure. But at some point, he's been through so much. This was his last chance. And he succeeded here, So a fear of his is if he goes somewhere else and struggles, he's done. So part of him is probably thinking, like, this is where I've had success. I'm doing good here. I'm throwing to JJ and Addison. You know, like, and we could win. I'm not saying they'll win a Super Bowl, but they're capable of being a team you could say is possibly got what it takes, you know, if Darnold was to continue to play well. I think there's still a strong possibility that this team brings him back, but we'll see.
And for me, I don't know about for you. You like the early quarterback philosophy. Can I get Sam? You can get a Sam Darnold a lot later now too, don't you think? Or not?
Yeah, but I'm not starting Sam Darnold as my starting quarterback in fantasy. I would take him as a second quarterback or in a super flex, but like that's not my. I'm never doing that. The only thing I'll do if I wait really late is Dak Prescott. That's a really, really good deep quarterback. He's going in 11, 12. That's crazy. That's a really good. Like if you try and wait on quarterback and you get screwed, you don't even get Mahomes in round 6, whatever. You get totally screwed. Bo Nix is nice, the next option up, but I think Dak Prescott, you know, you could even take Dak and Bo Nix. You could take Penix Jr. and Dak Prescott, but Dak is a steal. And to the question about do I like Penix Jr. over JJ and Penix Jr. by a country mile, come on, pal, you know that. All right, Brucey, hang tight, mute yourself. Let me get over to Rock Out and then to Gump. Gump, hang tight. Rock Out, you're live.
So far as Penix, where would you take him?
Nap dropping the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Nap. Penix, his ADP's near double-digit rounds. Like, again, I don't know that I draft him and Dak together. I definitely, this isn't a knock on Penix Jr. You guys know how much I love him. But I do like to have 2 quarterbacks about that same level when I do go late quarterback shopping. I don't like to just draft one of them. I like to have 2 very similar, high upside late guys. Even if it was a Kyler and a Penix Jr. or a Dak and a Penix Jr., that is a really good late combo to afford yourself more wide receivers, tight end, and running back opportunities. But in saying that, I still find myself 7 to 8 times out of 10 drafting Josh Allen, JD5, Lamar, Hurts, or Joe Burrow, or Mahomes. I'm almost 8 times out of 10 having one of those quarterbacks in every single draft I do. And part of that's not just because I'm early quarterback. Thanks again, Nap, for dropping Nap didn't drop 5 gifted memberships. He dropped a 5-month membership question. Are you drafting tonight? Yes, I probably will be tonight, and we can probably do a $10, yeah. I forget what I was saying. I don't know. I'm an early quarterback guy. And it's not just because I'm an early quarterback guy, though. Mahomes is a mid-quarterback draft, a draft slot. Like, you're not drafting Mahomes early quarterback. He's a late quarterback. He's the first of the late quarterbacks. He goes around 6. So I would say like 80% of my drafts so far, even if I grab Mahomes, I'm still grabbing Dak, especially in best ball. I'll grab Dak and Mahomes. I'll grab, a combination of players. But Mahomes in round 6 is almost a travesty, a criminal offense to pass on him in the 6-7 territory. I got Mahomes in 7. It's crazy. All right, Rock Out, hang tight. Gump, you got anything fresh you want to add to the conversation, Gumpy?
Oh, I got something fresh for you. Now, what I was trying to say is there's the regular pond that has stepping stones in it that goes to Golden Pond. Now, the stepping stones, teams need to hit those stepping stones a little bit different, like the Lions. They needed to do it different, and they didn't do it, but the Eagles did. Now, that's what I'm saying, having different players to do different stones and having everybody healthy gets you the Golden Pond. All right? You got to play it different. You got to be on top of your game to get to the Super Bowl. To be the top dog.
So you're saying that the pond divided by the matrix will possibly bring you a championship. Okay, I got you. If you multiply stones and you cross streams, you might.
This guy sit on the bench and he's good, and he runs a
Gump,
4.3, put his
Gump,
butt out there
Gump.
and let him do some stepping.
Those paint cans that you're
What?
transporting in the tractor trailer right now, one of them's leaking, bro. I'm telling you right now.
I'll tell you one of the paint cans I like is that freaking Manning that's coming out of college.
Of course you
I'd
do.
give up every doggone draft pick I'd have to get that kid.
And Arch Manning will be highly sought after. But what's that have to do with you playing Hendon Hooker over Goff a couple games at the beginning of the year? Gump, it's the worst.
One of the stepping stones to get
Gump,
to the Super Bowl.
Gump,
Let off rust a little bit.
Gump,
And
playing Hendon Hooker over Goff right now before an injury or anything like that is one of the craziest ideas I've ever heard.
He can't spread his wings, and he might not be better than your boy Travis or whoever, or whatever quarterback you think you got going on out there. Hooker might be pretty good there, Smitty.
You know,
he might be a stepping stone to get to the Super Bowl.
So
I mean, hey, it looks like Cleveland. It looks like Cleveland's a little desperate right now.
Yeah.
Looks like they're a little bit desperate.
Maybe
all of a sudden,
Gump.
Hendon Hooker starts to shine, and he's one of them stepping stones. And now we got Garrett, and they got Hooker.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If Goff is so bad,
go ahead.
If Goff is so bad that you're willing to bench him.
Goff is great.
Okay.
He's great. We're talking
Gump.
stepping stones.
Gump, listen to what I'm Gump. Let me talk. Gump, let me talk. If Goff is got some ability, not enough ability to keep him in there over this idea that you have, there's a problem. This is like if you think Goff is good, there's no room to do this maneuver. If you think Goff is vulnerable enough that you put him on the bench for Hendon Hooker for a little time just to see if you can get some trade bait, and Hendon Hooker proves you solid, why wouldn't you just want to keep him to have two quarterbacks, Gump? You're not getting anything for Hendon Hooker. You're not getting. This is a ridiculous argument. This is ridiculous. This is not happening. This is the craziest idea I've ever heard, Gump. This is nonsense.
You can't let people figure you out.
Thank you, Gump.
There's 53 people
Gump,
on that roster.
Gump, anything else I can help you with?
I played football when I was in high school, and I could run the ball fast as lightning. And I'll tell you what, I'm sure when some of those guys got off the freaking bench, or those guys got away from their girlfriends to play some football and help me out a little bit. We're talking about a little help out here.
Gump, not everybody's as good as football as you were. All right, Gump.
Oh, I scored touchdowns in one game, back to back to back.
Did you ever score 5 touchdowns like Al Bundy in one game in the state championship?
Dude, I was looking at the linemen. They're still in their stance, and I'm running down the field.
Gump, I'd love to see that. Do you got any footage, or do you got any old footage of that on an old camcorder?
I'll tell you, you get banged up. I got banged up.
Gump's got one of those.
53 people on the team. Let's play them all. That's what I'm saying.
All right,
Let's play them all.
All right, Gump.
That's with everybody else. Let's do it new. Let's go to Golden Pond. That's what I'm saying.
Finish him. Call terminated.
Jeez. Silva says 46 likes is criminal. We have 50 likes now, but Silva's right. We got 100 and over 100 to 170 people in and out of here. That is criminal. Please get the thumb up button. Hit that thumb up button. Get those thumbs up over 100. Thank you, Silva. Appreciate you. All right, let me go back to Travis real quickly. God, I don't know. I thought Denny was off his rocker the most out of anybody that ever calls into this channel, but Gump is on something different. This is a guy driving around our produce. This is a guy delivering our 55-inch LCD TVs to Best Buy. This is our guy dropping off the frozen chicken to Culver's and Chick-fil-A. This is the guy that's holding your eggs, your high-priced eggs that you don't want to get one of those cartons that's cracked. That's like $5. This is Gump. Gump's in charge of a lot right now, and I'm a little questioning whether he should be driving around our products across America.
He was transporting healthcare supplies a couple weeks ago.
Jeez. God.
Yeah.
You imagine Gump just back there in the back of the truck going, I got a bright idea. We're gonna mix things up with these healthcare products. They all need to be opened.
We can be more efficient.
If these LCD TVs just had a little bit of, let me bang them. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little off topic, but you keep seeing, kind of like Warren, the tight end, is getting a lot of hype now, rightfully so. Jackson Dart, he's starting to get talked about a lot. I think he will even more as time goes on. Do you see him jumping ahead of Shedeur Sanders at all? I don't necessarily, but I know that's the report that'll be coming in next. And it seems like people are kind of knocking Sanders down and pushing Dart up the board. And how do you view it? Do you definitely have Sanders ahead of Dart?
I mean, I do. Is this a possibility? Yes. Like I always reference, Cam Newton rose up in the 11th hour. He was not supposed to be the number one quarterback. It happens really quickly. It happens in politics too. When Obama came out of nowhere, like this is it's like first you get tired of the person on top and you're looking for something different. And if you hit that wave at the right time, you can come crashing in front of everybody else. So I'm not saying Dart moves ahead of Ward, but is there a possibility a team gets excited about him in this, weird thing? And look at Daniel Jones, how he got drafted way the Giants, man, what they doing? Daniel Jones got drafted way too early. It happens. I don't think so because that's my logic, but man, it would be great for the team that is able to, like the Giants. If for any reason Dart, I don't see Dart going 1 or 2, and I don't see the Giants passing on Sanders. So it's a highly unlikely scenario to play out just because Dart would have to be a top 3 pick or top 2 pick, and he can't be a top 2 pick. I think that's wild. But if the Giants weren't at 3, if they traded out or something, then yeah, if all the quarterbacks started to fall, Dart goes to the Raiders or something, and we're like shocked at Tom Brady. I just think that I think Sanders is too much of a rapport with neighbors so far. The Giants seem actually excited about him, which is weird that we have that information. You'd think that'd be smoke, but for some reason NFL teams, they tell you things sometimes, they don't tell you things other times, but I do believe it to be true. Shedeur and Neighbors have thrown together. They have a rapport. Dable could definitely cultivate and craft Shedeur and all of his weaknesses and turn them into strengths. So I do like the landing spot. I do think he'll be successful there. But yeah, I don't think Dart rises above numbers, into the 3rd spot or anything. The 3rd quarterback spot, but not into the 3rd draft slot. I just think I think the Giants would not pass on Shedeur. Who knows though? Something could come out.
Yeah. And do teams have limited interviews? Can they only interview so many players? Is that how it works? I can never remember that at the draft or the combine.
I don't know what the limit is, to be honest. It sounds like, if I remember correctly, there is something to that. Hey, Ziggy, do the NFL teams have a limit to the number of NFL draft prospects they can interview with? Oh, I don't think he's going to know this one.
From wikipedia.org. Each NFL team is allowed to transport a maximum of 30 draft-eligible players for the purposes of physical examinations, interviews, and written tests.
I don't know. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Nothing's working for me. Hey Siri. How many players can each NFL team interview at the NFL Combine?
Here's an answer from sportscasting.com.
Each 32 NFL teams can schedule up to 45 interviews lasting no more than 18 minutes apiece at the NFL Combine. So, yeah.
Okay. So that's a comment. That answers my question. Just because I saw the Colts either did or are going to interview Jendi, but if they have 45, that's just due diligence type stuff. So I wasn't sure if there was like a smaller limit.
Well, it does help, let's say, like a Shedeur, not to have to interview with, teams that are, at 25 and teams will be like, why waste we're not going to be able to draft Shedeur. We're not going to be able, so we're going to not waste our interview there. So it does have a purpose to limit it, but it seems like 45.
Yeah, it just stuck out to me that the Colts who have JT, interviewed Jendi, but if they're 45, they can afford to do that.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that does make you wonder. Like, if he's there at 14. I mean, the truth of the matter is, as much as I do like JT, I'm not saying it's a smart pick, and I'm not saying that you can justify what happens. But at the end of the day, pound for pound, no team should have passed on Adrian Peterson. No team.
Yeah.
I don't care what they're like. He was the best running back in the game for a decade. And it doesn't matter who you have. Like, you know, you run some sort of dual threat system or trade JT. But JT is, you know, holding Genty's jockstrap if he's lucky. And so, you know, you could make a justification for any team outside of the Jets, who have Breece Hall. Although, you know, you could say you want to do some sort of, you know, Gibbs and Monty thing. You could argue it. I think the Falcons would be ridiculous to take Genty, because Bijan and Genty, you could argue, are on similar levels, and you can't really utilize both of them the same way with Breece Hall. You could maybe make Breece Hall more of a Achane and Mostert situation. So there are very few teams where you couldn't make a justification. You really could. It's like,
right. Well, and I'm looking at it. JT, you know, they could trade him. His contract's up after 2026, but they also have him out after this year too. So there's all types of flexibility there, and they might not quite know what direction the organization's going either, with whether AR5 or another QB, or so they could decide to just get younger at the position too. And if a stud like that falls to them, they could take that.
Yeah. Hard to know. I mean,
like you said, you can justify it.
It's easy to pretend we know where Genty isn't going to go, but the truth is, any team could surprise us. He's such a talent that, you know, if it was me and I was the Colts, I would strongly consider taking him. I don't care. And I probably would, you know, deploy them in a Mostert and Achane way. Like, I would figure it out. You know, or Monty and Gibbs way. It's smart. He's such a force, man. But they got a lot of other needs. But yeah, they could trade JT. I mean, JT would have some trade value, but you'd have to ask yourself, like, why even extend him? Why? But I guess you would say, like, you didn't know you'd be sitting here staring at Genty. Genty definitely cemented himself more and more each game, and you'd already done the deal, obviously, with JT before that. So things have changed, but JT would be tradable, I think. But it's also really hard to trade running backs, especially with the draft approaching and teams wanting to fill that need. So you'd almost have to draft. I mean, he could be a draft day trade, I guess, but who knows? It is weird that they chose to meet with him, though. But
yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it does say something. It does say something. It could be smoke, but it could be that they also, you know, they want to know how valuable their pick is too. You know, there's a lot of ways you could look at it.
Right.
All right, rock out. What else you got, pal? It takes so long to get around the moon.
Did we figure out what Daniel's deal was from last night?
Did we figure out what?
What Daniel's deal was about last night about the Commanders having a good franchise?
Oh, his name was something else, but yeah, I'm not even thinking about that. There's people that hate, you know, he's obviously a hater. He acted like he was, you know, a new subscriber and everything like that. And maybe he was, but last night guy went on a rampage about how, you know, he's trying to prove to me
Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields was garbage, and I was like, he hasn't had his chance, and he may not. You know, he needs to be fixed. He's a broken player. It's like handing somebody a broken PS5 that has this one small part that's broken, but yeah, it can't work until it's fixed. But then he's like, oh, what about Washington? You don't think they're a good organization, do you? He's trying to prove some point, and I'm like, yeah, I think they are. He's like, Washington? Anyway,
yeah, he probably likes Ryan Poles and the Bears.
Yeah, whatever. What else you got?
What do you think about
Benson with the Cardinals, like they're basically treating it as like both starting running backs on one team. That's what the coach was talking about.
Wait, what are you saying? Benson and what?
Trey Benson.
What about him though?
And Connor.
Oh, what do I think about the duo? Look, Benson was averaging like 4.4 to 5 yards per carry at the end of the year. He was cranking them out. 6 yards, 5 yards. He was doing really well. I like Benson a lot. I liked him last year. I was disappointed with how they didn't even really give him a chance. Connor's been very injury prone his entire career, and last year he was relatively healthy. I think that, Connor's approaching that age of decline anyway, and the fact that Benson got used more and more at the end of the season kind of indicates that they're probably turning a page to a degree to try and get him more involved. The draft capital investments there that oftentimes pressures a team, is for right or wrong, it pressures a team to use players, when they're on their contract like that and they spent high draft capital on them. So I do think he's probably going to, thrive at some point. I like him. He's definitely Moon Man material. He was last year. It just didn't come to fruition, but I like Benson a lot. I think the Cardinals are questionable right now as an organization and how they deploy all their weapons. Not using MHJ really concerns me in terms of their intelligence of how to deploy their weapons. So we'll see. That's my only hesitation is Arizona. It's not Benson's talent. I like Benson a lot.
Yeah, he was 4.6 yards a carry for the season, and then last 6 games he played, he was like, I think 5.4 yards per carry. So when he got the ball, he was fine.
Yeah, especially at the end. If you look at his game log, if I remember correctly, it's like 6.7 and 5 and 7.
Yeah. 7.5, 6.7,
yeah.
4.5, 6.2. Yep.
So he was ripping them.
Yeah, he'll get more run.
Good.
And at the beginning of the year, he's very hesitant and timid, and I think that's why he kind of got set back. He was very, very impatient, or he was too patient. And as the season moved along, if you watch his highlights, toward the end of the year, he slips every first tackler. He's really good, and he gets 2 or 3 extra yards. Kind of plays a lot like Dylan Sampson does, and go watch Dylan Sampson film, and that guy never gets tackled in the spot where contact's made. He moves, he slips, goes forward about 4 or 5 more yards, 3 yards, 2 yards. Dylan Sampson's a space magician, and I really hope Dylan Sampson gets an opportunity, or in some ways I hope he goes to a crafty, cloudy, but advantageous situation like Kamara did when Kamara was drafted. And I thought Kamara was going to be a top 5 running back, and everybody thought it was a garbage landing spot. They said he was too small, called him a top 5 running back on CBS Sports as one of my bold predictions that year. And he hadn't taken a snap yet, and Kamara turned into a monster. So what I see in Dylan Sampson, I saw a lot in Kamara. I think Dylan Sampson's the guy. The dark horse, him and Scatterboo are awesome dark horse RBs in this draft class. Scatterboo's more hyped, but at the same time, on Underdog, promo code Smitty, link in the live chat, link in the description. He's going in, I want to say, double-digit territory. So Scatterboo is, the only concern I have with Scatterboo is landing spot, and not because he'll get, doubted by teams, but somebody's going to take him too high, like the Niners, and he's going to be in a cloudy situation. So Scatterboo's, somebody I think is going to kill at the National Football League level, but someone like Shanahan could step all over his upside and momentum by drafting him into this situation, and Niner fans are so excited about him. It makes me sick that this kid might not have the shot that he. It feels like when we knew that Odunze was going to the Bears, we could feel it. Even before the draft started, we just knew Odunze was going to land in Chicago, and what a stupid pick it was because they couldn't even use him. They needed to protect Caleb, and they didn't. They took Odunze. Odunze is the 3rd wide receiver on the roster. They have an offensive coordinator that I told everyone was going to fail before the season ever ended. And Shane Waldron, who runs these 2 wide receiver sets, can't even use Odunze. It was a debacle by Chicago, Mickey Mouse organization and decision makers. I just have the same feeling Scatterboo's going to the Niners, but hopefully he doesn't. I'd love to see him like in LV. Give him to the Raiders. Give him to the Giants. Give him to the Cleveland Browns. Put Scatterboo in a Browns uniform. It's like what's his name? The former Brown running back that.
Peyton Hill.
Peyton Hillis. Yeah, it's Peyton Hillis times 10.
Yeah.
Put Scatterboo in Cleveland. That would be great. Scatterboo in New York. Scatterboo in Cleveland. Scatterboo in the Raiders situation. Scatterboo in Dallas. You know. But yeah, Peyton Hillis on times 10. Peyton Hillis that gets, you know, that gets infected with the Hulk syndrome. It's like
even got on the Madden cover.
That's probably what his video is going to be. He's going to run into the Hulk and cross streams, and then all of a sudden Scatterboo is going to turn into the Hulk. But yeah, the Niner fans are like, and the thing that really pisses me off about the Niner excitement about Scatterboo is like, they're rooting for him to go somewhere and sit on the bench. You know, it's like, I know McCaffrey could get hurt, and I'm predicting that as part of the show, but they also have Jordan Mason, who they're probably going to retain. He's got a tender, but I don't think anybody's going to offer him the world. Not with this running back class, you know. And then this rookie running back class. And then you got Garendo, you know, who's earned his keep. Shanahan doesn't trust rookies for all that, you know. It takes him a while to trust rookies. So it's like, it just sucks to see, you know, Scatterboo hype going to a place where he's not even going to start. But hopefully he goes somewhere else, man. Clint doesn't know what he's talking about. Don't listen to Clint. Scatterboo could be good for special teamer. Clint, stop. Scatterboo, he'd be great at a laundromat. All right. Anything else, fellas? I'll be back tonight. See you later.
JD Johnson in the chat just dropped the trade. So if you want to run over that quick too.
Who?
James Johnson II. He was asking about a trade.
Oh, the second.
I mean, not a trade.
No, it was just in the chat. Yeah.
Chat, help me out. I am crazy for thinking of trading Bowers for Mixon, Kittle, and the 1.5. Yes, that's crazy. End of story. Thank you.
Yeah.
Move on. All right, see you boys tonight.
Especially at a tight end premium.
Yeah, later.
Yeah, later, Smitty.
That'd be crazy in a non-tight end premium. In tight end premium, you need to set down the bottle, bro. You need to lock your phone away so you're not making any more trades. Scatterboo might be better than Kyron Williams, says Matto. They're very similar, like, in a way. Their style of play is really, really, really good. And you know, if Kyron was elsewhere or something, he'd be great in that system. But you don't want him to go there, obviously. All right, I'll see you all tonight. Appreciate you. Hide your mamas.
He's BTJ. What you gonna do? He's BTJ. He's gonna put it on you. He's BTJ. Gonna have a good game. He's BTJ. Your mama screams his name. BTJ is going to put it on you. There's not a single thing that you can do. BTJ is going to put it on you. There's not a single thing that you can do.
Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday, live whenever big news breaks. And additionally, live most midnights. We'll probably be back tonight to draft. Midnight-ish Eastern on Underdog, promo code Smitty. Hit the link in the live chat. Hit the link in the description to get prepared, ready, and signed up. And then the instructions of how to get in the draft will be presented during the live stream. See you all tonight.